So, I have owned the brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max for 1 month, and I want to tell you my experience and why I love it. Now, I'm not going to cover over all the sort of techie bits and pieces that come with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm literally going to tell you what my experience has been with this phone over the last month, and like I said, why I absolutely love it. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that obviously the design isn't that much different from, say, the last 4 generations of iPhones. And even if I've got right here, I've got the iPhone 12 Pro Max, what was the first of this kind of design of iPhone that came out in 2020. But just comparing both of these models straight away, this one just feels a far more polished version than this phone right here. Don't get me wrong, I loved this phone when it first came out, but there's just been so much that's come to the iPhone ever since this one came out. So, for example, ProMotion has come over the last few generations, for example. The cameras are far better than whatever you can get on an iPhone 12 Pro Max or even any iPhone 12 model. And then also things like USB-C that's been added this year compared to Lightning in the past. And then also like the action button too, the new titanium body too, and also the way how it just feels in your hand has been redefined and changed ever so slightly. Dynamic island. I could go on for loads of bits and pieces what have changed over the last sort of 3 years ever since this phone came out compared to this phone right here. Like I'll say again, it just feels like that this phone is just perfect right now. And I can understand why Apple have stuck with that same design since this iPhone to this iPhone here, because they knew they had a lot of work what they could do to this design to end it up looking like something like this phone right here. But taking a closer look here, I would actually say the iPhone 15 Pro Max is, like I said, one of the most comfortable phones that I've held in my hand. I'd probably say it's not as comfortable as, say, like an iPhone 11 was, or even, say, the iPhone 10s or even the 10. I think they were the most comfortable phones that we've had in any generation inside our hands. They just felt right. But this one here is probably the next closest I feel in the most comfortable thing, what feels like in my hand now. I wasn't comfortable with, say, like the iPhone 12 that we had here. It was quite rigged and sort of sharp edges, and those edges got even sharper through the 13 and 14 models. So I'm glad that they've sort of pulled that back now, and it definitely feels more comfortable. And like I said, probably not as comfortable as one of these, but it's good enough. And especially at the size of this phone too, yeah, I do really like it holding it in my hand. Another big feature that you'll notice on the body is obviously this is the first iPhone to have a USB-C port at the bottom of it. And to be honest, it's about time. Now, I know there's loads of Android users going, well, we've had USB-C since 2016, 2017 on our phones. Yes, I get it. Yes, I know Apple have stuck with Lightning all of this time. But yeah, I am really happy that it's finally changed, whether that's the EU pushing for Apple to have it at the bottom, or if Apple were thinking of changing it themselves. Who knows? We can have a debate about that in another video if we want to. But the thing is, it is here now, and it is great. It is absolutely fantastic. It's a feature that I'm finally glad it's come to the iPhone. Obviously, it's not brand new or anything sparkling, but it's been so useful. I've been able to charge up, say, like my AirPods on the go, as you can see right here. I've also been able to charge up other phones too, and also you can connect up other devices to it as well. Now, one thing what I haven't really done with this phone is I haven't actually used ProRes with this and connect up to an external drive. Like I said, I've just been used as a daily driver phone, and I know you can do ProRes, but with my review of this, I haven't really used ProRes on this phone because the normal kind of quality what you get with the standard kind of camera options have been absolutely fine, and I've not needed to plug in an external drive. But having said that, it is good news that I do know that that option is there if I did ever want to record in ProRes on my iPhone. But then moving on, there is probably one thing I'd say I'm not fully in love with on this phone, and that is titanium. Now, it's cool to say we've got titanium on an iPhone. You know, that is a really cool thing to boast about. Oh, look at my phone, it's made out of titanium. Woo! Or the main shell on the outside's made out of titanium anyway. But comes with that, you're going to get some sacrifices, and definitely fingerprint is a big one. I would actually say it's probably been the most fingerprint device I've ever used. You know, what picks it up. I've never known something like this before. That even if you just polish it off and then just touch it once, you'll get a fingerprint. That fingerprint is now there. It's just crazy, and it's a bit silly, to be fair. Now, obviously, I know there is like the natural titanium color, and this hides it a bit better, but that's the point. It shouldn't need to hide it, really. And I think Apple should have maybe worked on something with that to making sure it's not such a big fingerprint magnet on side of it. But still, titanium is cool. Whether I prefer it to stainless steel, I wouldn't say really I can notice much difference. You know, I'm looking here at my iPhone 12 Pro Max I had, and that's stainless steel we've had for a design for many, many years. And even if they did manage to polish off and curve around the edges like they have done in the past with stainless steel, I wouldn't have been that bothered. But like I say, having titanium on this phone isn't just like the best thing ever. I just think it's a bit of a gimmick personally on this one. It could still be made out of stainless steel in my honest opinion. And to be honest, we actually have heard reports that people having titanium, it can scratch up easier. Also, people reported that the back glass here breaks and shatters easier with titanium. Whether that is the reason behind it, who knows? Luckily, as you can see here, I haven't experienced that problem yet. But the main thing is, I do like it. It is lighter. It is cool, but is it needed? I'm not that bothered. I think it's just another thing to get Apple going. Look at this, made out of titanium. But there is one thing what is really cool about the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that is your opportunity to get your hands on one. That's right, guys. Right now, I'm doing a giveaway for an iPhone 15 Pro Max on my channel, and I'm going to be giving away this phone right here, this iPhone 15 Pro Max, when we get to around about the holiday season between the week of Christmas to New Year, that end of year sort of time. And I'm going to be giving this away to one lucky person. Anybody in the world can enter in. That's an international giveaway that I am doing on this channel. It's really, really awesome. And all you have to do to enter in is write down in the comments below of what gear you might be getting still before the end of 2023, or maybe some of that gear or technology gear you're probably going to get in 2024, whether this is Apple gear or other gear. I would love to know. Put it down in the comments below, and also at the same time as well, to enter into this giveaway when we're going to be doing it by a live stream at the end of the December month, you'll want to make sure you get the notification for that and more details about the whole giveaway. So for that, I would recommend, if you are new here, to subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell, because you'll want to be alerted of when that giveaway is going to be happening. And just quickly, guys, I will just say, sadly, there's still spammers and, you know, scammers out there. Some of them still impersonating myself, sending you to WhatsApp you, Telegram me, you know, all about it. It's not me at all. And whatever you do, do not pay any money up front to pay for shipping, because I'll be posting this out, paying for all the taxes and everything to send this phone out. So make sure you don't do that. But the best thing you can do is probably actually report these spammers and scammers. And with that, let's now talk about the brand new A17 Pro chipset that's also inside the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, don't get me wrong, Apple boasted a lot about the A17 Pro, and yeah, it does look really, really good on paper. But for me, and I think for most people, for their daily use with the iPhone, you're probably not going to be able to stretch its legs out just far yet. Obviously, it has that new ray tracing capability as GPU, and there are games that are coming on its way to the iPhone, what are supposedly console quality games that you can play, and it's going to be really, really cool to see that. But just daily use of using this A17 Pro chipset, have I noticed it being any slower than what I had with my iPhone 14 Pro Max? Not really. 13 Pro Max? No. And even my old iPhone 12 Pro Max, really any differences? Not really much at all, to be fair. It's still really fast, it's really snappy, whether because we've got that extra bit of RAM inside it, we've now got 8 gigabytes of RAM or not. The main thing is I can have, say, 20 apps open all at the same time, and the phone just works super, super well. So for me, the A17 Pro has been fantastic. Now, obviously, in the past, we have had sort of reports coming in that the A17 Pro is getting super hot, and even I talked about this a little bit too. But generally speaking, for daily usage, I've not really noticed this phone getting super hot, personally. The only thing I'd probably say where it has got a bit more warmer than it should have is probably when I've been recording with it. I've noticed that if you do, say, 4K videos, or say if you do cinematic mode on this phone, and let's say you're recording beyond, say, 60 seconds of footage with that, then yeah, you do still start to feel that the phone is starting to get a bit warm around this edge here, just below where the cameras are sitting. Whether that's the A17 Pro, the battery, or the cameras, or a combination of everything, everything just working on there? I'm not sure, but it does get a little bit toasty and warm to my liking. But as I've said before, I'm hoping with next year with the iPhone 16, we get a new design all over again and Apple work out a cooling system, because I think it is hot as it can go really with this iPhone right now. But talk about recording and things like this, let's actually talk about the cameras actually on this phone. Now, for me, with that 5x optical zoom, it has been a dream at last that we've got this. Now, obviously there are competitors out there have 10x zoom and other zoom capabilities. And obviously Apple are not the first to introduce 5x optical zoom. But I always say this every time, when Apple do something like this, introduce like a peg up, a lot of people go, it's because of money. But I also think it's because they need to get it absolutely correct. They need to define what they've got to be perfect in their opinion, their own sort of testing. They want it in a certain sort of way that it has to hit that barrier. And I think this has been done with the 5x zoom. It lets in lots and lots of light with this, and even better than compared to say the 10x zoom, what you get say with a Galaxy S23 Ultra. It is brilliant. And also at the same time as well, doing sort of digital zooming and cropping, it does really help. And to be honest, from my opinion, I go up to say a 10x zoom mainly on the digital crop, and that is still really, really good quality. And to be fair, I don't think I need anything more than that, and I can understand why Apple put a 5x optical zoom in, and then also a 10x sort of, well, they go up to all the way up to about a 20x digital zoom on video recording and 25x zoom on photos, and I think that's more than enough in my honest opinion for most people. Now, there are going to be people out there who will need more, and there's also going to be people who want to buy themselves, say, a Galaxy S23 Ultra, what can go, oh, look what I can do, I can go even further than you. But generally speaking, a lot of people are just not using this every single day. But it's nice to have that we do have a better zoom capability on the iPhone 15 Pro Max this time round. And I've said this too, that one of my favorite features I love with the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the ability that you can zoom from, say, 0.5 zoom, as you can see here, and I can keep on pinching and pinching and pinching and pinching and go all the way up to the maximum zoom without stopping the camera. Now, you might think this is a bit silly, but if you have an older iPhone out there, or let's say you have a Galaxy S23 Ultra, for example, or some other phones, you have to actually zoom, stop the camera, sort of jig it around again to change to another lens, start recording again, and then once you've hit sort of the maximum of that sort of sensor, you have to stop the camera again, start again. And it's a right palaver, to be honest. And I've had this before where I've been recording, I need to zoom in further, and I have to stop the video, zoom out, stop the video, and it's just really, really crazy. And this is the first iPhone that can do that. And this, I would say, is probably my favorite feature. Don't get me wrong, the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 8 phones, they can do this too, what is really, really awesome. And it's a feature I absolutely love. And until you use it, until you notice this, you will fall in love with it too. I'm really, really sure. But like I said, older iPhones like the 11 here, the 12 Pro Max, like I said, the Galaxy S23 Ultra cannot do this. And you'll find it really super helpful, and I love that in my iPhone, what I have right now. So next of all, let's move on to battery life with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And to me, I found the battery life probably about the same as what I had with my old 14 Pro Max. Now, with that, what I mean is that if I get up and I sort of have a 16-hour day where I'm awake, I on average get to around about, say, 50 to 45% battery with the phone at the moment. And obviously it's still very, very new. And with that sort of day, I may be looking at articles for an hour, watching videos for an hour, maybe recording or taking pictures for about, say, 20 to 30 minutes on average. And then also at the same time, sort of just doing normal phone calls, your usual sort of task, not pushing the phone to its absolute limit. You know, if I am recording videos on this for, say, an hour at a time, yeah, oh boy, the battery goes down really, really quickly. But I'm guessing about that. But if you have the chance to, say, top it up during the day for even, say, a 15-minute boost of battery, say you've got yourself down to 60% battery and then you boost it up for 15 minutes or so, even at the end of the day, you probably actually end up around about that 60% battery mark, what is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, we would love those battery lives to be better in this phone, but for me, I think it's pretty awesome in what we're getting right now with this. So to summarize, what is this iPhone 15 Pro Max? Well, I believe it's like a polished version of one of these, an iPhone 13 Pro Max, an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and we finally got to this sort of last model that we have here. And I am really hoping that next year that Apple make a brand new designed iPhone, because I think it's time it needs to happen. But for this year, if you want the best iPhone, and I know that Apple always say this is the best iPhone ever, I really do believe this is the best iPhone ever this time, and it is definitely worth an upgrade if you are coming from an older iPhone, from say an iPhone 12 Pro Max or older, like the 11s or even old like that. You will notice a big difference with owning one of these phones. And with that as well, guys, it's time to wrap up this video. So if you have enjoyed watching this And with that, guys, it's also time to wrap up this video. So if you have enjoyed watching this 1 month review with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, do make sure that you press the like button. Also at the same time as well, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, please also make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.